Hello everybody, it's Sixx here. Welcome to the Sixx Experiment. And I know it's been a couple weeks. It's been about 3 weeks since I've done a video. This video and all of my videos this experiment is about me changing my life. Right now I'm standing where I'm building a chicken coop because Sweet and I now have about 30 chickens, and we're building a chicken coop and an outside run and all this. But today I want to talk about something that's going to blow your mind. It blew my mind back then. It's hard for me to believe that it's actually a true thing. But 22 years ago, one of the most horrific attacks in the U.S. ever took place, and that was 9/11 on the Twin Towers. And I remember that day like it was just, last year almost. And I'm sure some of you feel the same way about it. But something I think I'm going to blow your minds completely. You're not going to even believe this. But 22 years ago, I was a syndicated talk show host. I was on the radio and I talked about technology, so I was kind of a nerd. But I knew quite a bit about it, and I've talked to a lot of those nerdy folks. That was what I did. But I also was a publisher. I owned a magazine, a newspaper, and this was one of my newspapers, the Radio Times. And the paper was because I published a newspaper for the industry that I was in, and I thought it would give me an up in the industry so I could have some connections and make those contacts, because I was syndicated. So anyways, that was the reason I published this. So this, let me show you the date of this real quick. This was published, some of you guys might even remember Invasion, some of these guys here, Michael Savage and some of these other talk show hosts that were in there. Mass suicide, chaos in the streets, radio stations in turmoil, invasion of the Star Guide 3. Well, let me explain you a little bit of what that means. At that time, 22 years ago, at that exact time, in June, I believe it was, somewhere around there, during the summer, they had decommissioned satellites, all the analog, that old analog stuff. They were pulling it out of the sky and they were setting up all the new digital. So all the new digital satellites were going to take place or replace all of those analogs, right? So as a publisher, I was trying to figure out how can I illustrate that? Well, how do you illustrate taking down and just the reformation of the radio industry in one shot, then this is exactly what was happening. So here's what we did. And I want to show you this date here on this publication, Radio Times. This is the only copy I have, by the way, after 22 years. I can't even believe it. But check this out. See if you can zoom in and see the date. June 6, 2001. This was the first one, Volume 1, Issue 1. You see that? See if you can see that. Focus in there. June 6, 2001, right? Radio Times. Let me show you what was inside at the time. It's been yellowed and all that, you can see that. But it was basically, these are all the people in the radio industry. This was getting to be big. I remember that. Oh yeah, we had we're starting to do streaming at the time. It was just getting started. There's my show, The Webmaster. Michael Savage. More of the Savage show there. There's the whole article. Anyways, there's Sweet, by the way, staying fit. 22 years ago, baby. Can you believe that? Wow, it's amazing. The Webmasters, cyborgs to CEOs. That was me right there. Anyways, boy, that was the days. So back to what I was telling you. June 6th, 2001. 9/11 is obviously 9 September, so September 11th, right? And we all know that. It's burned in our brains. If you're an American, you'll never forget it. 9/11. June 6th. June, July, August, September. 4 months, right? Take a look at this cover. Take a real hard, good look at that cover. You see this? See that right there? That is the Twin Towers collapsing onto themselves in the exact locations that it actually happens 4 months later. 4 months later. Look at that. And this is in June. Mind-boggling, blew everybody's mind. Everybody was stunned. Nobody knew. And mind you, you got to understand that this thing, Radio Industry's only bi-monthly resource directory, the very first one, right? This thing got mailed in June to every single radio station, program director in the entire country, New York to LA. So they all had this 4 months in advance of the Twin Tower attack with the image of the Twin Tower attack 4 months before it actually happened. Almost identical. And just so you guys know the premise of this and why I came up with this and why this was even conceptualized, something so horrific, is that we were simply blowing up Radio City because Radio City was being blown up. The analog was going away, the new stuff was coming in, let's blow up Radio City. So we made this satellite, and by the way, satellites don't send lasers. We made that up too, just so you guys all know that that's not even a real thing. We made this up. But we made it all up. And that's what we got 4 months before it happened.
And what happened on the day on September 11th when the attack happened?
And promptly investigated. Instantaneously. I mean, there was, but as it didn't take any time. The day wasn't even over. It was, and during that same day, they had realized that it was just a freaky coincidence. And so there you go. A freaky coincidence. Maybe that's why I live in Mexico. Just kidding.
That's not true.
No, that was a joke. That was maybe not a good one, but it was still a joke. So there you have it. Today is absolutely a day to remember. We need to remember all.
Thank you for everybody's service and what everyone did on that day.
Everybody that sacrificed themselves trying to save others, and for all those that lost their lives, and the people that, I mean, it should not be forgotten. It should never be forgotten. And so that's 22 years ago. This, I'll never forget it. It was a big, very big part of my life. And this is how it was a big part of my life. But my life isn't this anymore. As you guys know, I'm part of the Sixx Experiment. I might as well use this as an opportunity to segue. Please subscribe to our channel because my wife and I, Sweet, we now live in Mexico and we are beginning to homestead. We've been here living off-grid for 20 years. We have been all over the place, but now we are here and we have a new homestead, and now we have 30 chickens. We're building a hen house. We got all kinds of new things going on. So if you're into that sort of thing and you like what we do, also, by the way, I'm a carnivore. I eat almost only meat, and my wife's keto, so we do a lot of that too. So anyways, I just wanted to share this with you. Thank you all for watching. This is some crazy stuff, but a day to remember and not to ever forget. Thank you.